Welcome to the Rebuilt Man podcast. I am your host and founder, Coach Frank Rich, and we have an exciting Q&A episode on deck for you guys today. If you're new to the podcast, these Q&A episodes are me and our head coach in the Rebuilt Man Brotherhood, Coach Arnold, where we unpack listener questions. So these are questions directly from you guys out there tuning into the podcast. Some of these questions come from men inside of our community. So we're going to dive in. We're going to unpack some of these questions. We're going to give you the answers, the clarity, and a takeaway, and something you can begin to apply if you're wrestling and struggling with this exact issues that we're going to address here. But before we dive in, guys, if you have a question that you want answered on an upcoming episode, you could drop those down in the comments here on YouTube. If you're watching us on YouTube, you can send those questions into frank@rebuiltsrecovery.com if you want to have your question featured and answered on an upcoming episode of the Rebuilt Man podcast. But let's dive in here today, guys. Coach Arnold, welcome back to the show, brother.
Glad to be back. I got some questions for us.
All right, man. Let's make it
All
happen
right,
here.
let's jump right in. So here it is. What does recovery look like for a man of faith? I'm a Christian and feel constant guilt and shame. How do I actually bring God into this without just promising him I'll do better and failing again? Ooh, good one.
This is timely. And guys, we don't set these questions up to get answered in any particular order. I'm hearing this for the first time here today, but it's interesting that this is the question that is answered. So you guys are going to hear this. This episode is going to release the day after Easter. The time of this recording is Good Friday. And Arnold, you weren't on the call this morning, but I spoke to the men this morning about the journey to Christ for me and the significance of this particular day. So it was Good Friday 2019 that I was actually publicly baptized. It was about 6 months or so into my walk with Christ, and I felt a call to publicly share that resurrection and transformation. And I shared a lot of how that defining moment and my understanding of the role that Jesus played on the Christ and what these next 3 days represent, how it has been a strong foundation for what it means to be a rebuilt man. I don't over Christianize the things that we do here. I share my faith boldly on my sleeve, but we're not a faith-based organization. We have faith-based rooted principles and all the things that we do here, but we try to position ourselves in the market a little bit different. But at the end of the day, being a rebuilt man leans into the exact message that these next 3 days represents. Jesus died and was reborn, and that was a symbol and a recognition of him dying for us, but also a message that we can be reborn as well, that our past can be washed away and we can be born anew. And that's what it means to be a rebuilt man, is your past self is no longer a part of you. So whether you're a Christian or a man that walks in a secular worldview, or you subscribe to Hinduism or Buddhism, we have a place for you here. But the message is the same. The journey is the same for all of us. What does it mean as a Christian to walk in freedom? It means you no longer let the sins of the past, you no longer let the behaviors of your past, you no longer let the things that you used to do hold weight over your identity. You let those things go. They are washed away. This is symbolically done in our program in week 4, where we literally have you guys write out all the parts from the past that you need to let go. And we walk you through burning it. And that burning is a symbol that part of you is dying. It's being let go. And becoming a rebuilt man means that there's a new version of you, a version that is clean, a version that is no longer held back from the things that he used to do. That doesn't mean that they didn't happen, but they no longer hold weight over your identity. Jesus signifies this and represents this over these next 3 days of dying on the cross and being reborn again. But it's also a symbol and recognition that this is the journey for all of us. We have the ability to lay our sins at the cross, to lay our sins at the feet of Christ, to get washed, cleansed with the blood of Christ. And I think that's what it means as a Christian to walk in freedom, is allowing God to heal you. And Dom, one of the members inside of our program who works in ministry, had a an incredible way to articulate this. And it's something he's wrestled with and something I've seen a lot of guys wrestle with. The disciplines, the things, the tactics, the daily habits that we do, they are tools to bring you closer to Christ. And sometimes guys look at the things that they do as the ultimate pedestal instead of saying, no, God is here to heal me. Jesus is here to heal me. And all the things, the gratitude, the cold showers, the journaling, the scripture work, the assignments are tools to bring us closer to Christ. But at the end of the day, as a Christian, you have to let God, let Jesus be the healer for you. Follow him, lead him, or allow him to lead you. But what does it mean to walk in freedom as a Christian? It means you let the past go. You forgive yourself just as Christ has forgiven you. And you allow God and your intentional work to rebuild yourself in a new version. So it's interesting timing here of this question, because this was literally what we talked about here this morning. I know your journey's been a little bit different here, Arnold. So I'd love to get your thoughts and insights for this question and the person that asked it.
Well, it's a great question, right? And we do have a lot of men of faith struggle for some reason, uh, maybe even more so than others, because there is that guilt and shame element that religion can bring with it. The famous Catholic guilt, right? And it's the whole belief. I spoke to a lot of guys that are basically thinking that they are inherently bad, and they have to constantly work on being better. And if you have that belief that you're bad, you're going to start behaving in that way, right? So there's like different ways to look at this, but um, I hmm, I would rephrase the question like we always do, right? Is saying like, I'm a Christian and feel constant guilt and shame. How do I actually bring God into um, without just promising Him I'll do better and failing again? I feel that the fact that you're a Christian doesn't necessarily have anything to do with what you're going through, because we can ask the same question: how do I work out as a Christian? Right? Like, just because you're a Christian doesn't make things different. Like, um, trusting God but lock your door. There are certain things, like you said, the discipline and all these other things that you have to do regardless of your faith. If you want you want the bread to bake, you're gonna have to bake it. No amount of prayer will get that done. So there are things that um, out in the physical world that require for you to do in order to achieve the results. But then there is that spiritual aspect, right? The higher self. Some people are more spiritual than religious, but there definitely is something that transcends the physical. And in our program, we pride ourselves to be holistic, right? We bring both of those worlds together. So there's the neuroscience piece, doing these particular things to address the physical aspect of the addiction, but there has to be a spiritual aspect as well. And in my opinion, some religions bring this flawed piece of guilt and shame, which is self-defeating. And, you know, dissecting the words, first things first, you would have to first look at what is guilt and what is shame, right? Understanding that guilt is a feeling that you feel bad about a behavior, that's the guilt. And then shame is feeling bad about yourself. And we all know that guilt can serve a purpose. Yeah, I should not have done guilt. I feel guilty. That can actually serve as a guidance, so you to course correct, and next time you'll do. But when you are experiencing shame, which is the lowest vibration on the Hawking scale, right? I think it's 20. That is completely like paralyzing, and it serves no purpose, and it's completely destructive. And I really believe that it is shame that fuels the addictive cycle. It's shame that allows us to keep on cycle, rekindling the cycle and never stopping it.
Yeah.
Because we stop it, but then shame starts it back up again. And that's why shame has to go. It has to. And
Mhm.
what I never believed that religion intended, or Christianity intended, to put shame into us, because, you know, whatever you believe, like Jesus and God, they do not want you to feel shame. Nowhere in the Bible Jesus tells you to feel shameful. That's
Yeah.
that's a
That's
human
that's
belief.
man injecting his own shame
Exactly.
into his religious teachings. You know, it's
Right.
interesting. I didn't catch this the first time you read the question, but read the question for me again.
Yeah. So, what does recovery look like for a man of faith? I'm a Christian and feel constant guilt and shame. How do I actually bring God into this without just promising him I'll do better and failing again?
Yeah. See, it's that last part that I don't think I caught the first time. Embedded in the question is the presupposition that I'm going to fail again,
Right.
right? So
Yep.
it's getting to the point of a belief within yourself that
Yep.
you can walk in freedom. Christian or not, you have to hold a belief
Yep.
that freedom is possible and you will never fail again. And I would say for the Christian, this is scripturally supported. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So stop presupposing that you're going to fail. Start there.
Yeah.
Ask the question from a different lens and perspective. How do I walk with God so that I can walk in freedom forever? So now you've taken it from I'm going to fail and let God down to what do I need God to help me do? So now you've changed your entire perspective and lens that you're looking at life through. And you're not looking for the ways that you're going to let God down. You're looking for the ways that God is going to help you continue to walk in freedom. God, I can't believe I didn't recognize that when you first answered the question. Because, like I said, the way that it is questioned and put together is assuming that you are going to fail. So you have to start down this journey building the belief within yourself. And Arnold, this is, we talk about this constantly. The guys that create freedom are the ones that believe that freedom is possible. The guys that continue to relapse and slip are the ones that believe that they're going to continue to relapse and slip. It starts there. If you do not believe that freedom is possible, you will never walk in freedom. You will find reasons to reconfirm your beliefs. You will find ways to make your beliefs come true, with or without God.
The
So start
belief,
from the
yes.
beginning that freedom is possible.
And the shame, right? When you beat yourself up. That's why I always tell the guys when they have a slip or relapse, do not beat yourself up, because that starts the shame cycle again, which starts the addictive cycle. You cannot beat yourself up. Shame is useless. It doesn't serve any purpose except to keep you stuck where you are. And there's a beautiful quote, Wayne Dyer, of course, you know, he said this: if you knew who walked beside you at all times on this path that you have chosen, you could never experience fear or doubt again. And again, it comes down to the belief. If you genuinely believe that, then you believe you can do it. And if you believe you can't, then you can't, right? Like Henry Ford said, whatever you believe. And your outside world, your behavior and your whatever you do in the outside world will be a result of your beliefs. You will behave how you believe. And that's the whole identity change, right? Like every act you do is a vote you cast for the person you want to be, like James Clear says. So it really comes down to the identity change. And if you have the identity of somebody who's doubtful, who doesn't believe they can do it, that's how you're going to behave. And the fact that you're putting God on the spot here, he has nothing to do with that. God's always been there, right? It's you're the one who disconnects from him, uses some excuse to do your behavior, and then you go back. Um, the fact that he's always there, you need to align yourself, reconnect, and then live from that space and act from that space. And if you act from that space and live from that space, you will not do anything that's self-harming, because he did not create you to self-harm, right? God is love. If you do everything out of love for others and for yourself, you will never be engaged in this activity or any activity, as a matter of fact, that is self-harming you in any way, shape, or form, or others. So it's just a matter of alignment, really. Align yourself with God, which is love. Align yourself with love, and problems should be solved, right? It's easier said than done, but that's the overall goal, right? To align yourself with and even with small things during the day, because you can see when you're doing things out of spite, out of guilt, out of shame. If you fix those little things, the big things fix themselves. What you always say, right? How you do one thing is how you do everything. So fix the small things, and the big things will fix themselves.
Yeah. When you're out of alignment and not walking with God and God's intentions for your life, that's when shame begins to creep in. That's, the story of Genesis 2. The minute Adam and Eve went off course and direction with where God was calling them, that's when they felt ashamed. That's when they covered themselves up. So at the end of the day, getting free from porn, Christian or not, like you said, is built on the same foundation and principles. Start with belief, focus on freedom, set that as the path, and focus on becoming the man that can do it. And don't allow shame to enter into the equation. So guys, we hope that resonated. Hope there was some clarity found in there. Like I said, you have to start this journey from a place of believing you can be free. And if you focus on that, your journey may be long, it may be short, it may be a week, it may be a month, it may be a year. But if you set your eyes on the right things and believe in yourself, everything is possible, and freedom being first and foremost the thing that you can achieve. So, like we said, guys, if you have questions that you want answered on an upcoming episode, drop those down in the comment section here on YouTube. Email those questions to frank@rebuiltrecovery.com. And if you're out there and you're struggling, you're looking for a community, and you're looking for the framework to help you begin to walk in freedom, and you want to do it with a brotherhood, the best way to get started is joining us in the free 7-day porn reset. This is 7 days of actionable steps, of clear, decisive actions that you need to take on a daily basis, paired with a brotherhood and all the support you needed through freedom coaching calls on a daily basis. You can check that out and get access to it at therebuiltman.com/7-day reset. But we appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Make sure to rate, review, subscribe, share this with as many people as possible. And Coach Arnold, as always, appreciate you, all the wisdom and knowledge and love you bring to this group and community. Guys, we'll see you in the next one.